Hello and welcome to this review of my Havit HV-KB395L. This keyboard was a donation, thanks again mate. I've already mentioned this board briefly at the end of my review of this Anidees prismatic RGB keyboard, which is also a low profile keyboard broadly similar to this one. Low profile keyboards are popular again, so it only makes sense to have a look at some. Now, for those who haven't watched the Anidees video, to make a long story short, I kinda like the switches in a way, and the keyboard had some pros here and there, but there were three things that more or less completely killed it for me. First of all, the keycaps are completely flat and there is very little room between them, which made it extremely easy to hit more keys than you intended, which was rather infuriating and, moreover, utterly unnecessary. Second, the form factor of the keyboard was a very awkward 65% type form with a layout that really didn't help the situation, which combined with the stupid flat caps made me type very slowly and clumsily. If you take a look at the typing demonstration of the video, you can see I'm way below my usual words per minute on that. And finally, the switches, called Frailly Blue, which were a clone switch of Kailh Choc Blue, felt pretty okay, but they had a colossal design flaw as they actuated ages before the click, which made them fire way too easily, in turn making gaming on it very difficult. Now this Havit is a broadly similar board, except this one comes with genuine Kailh Choc Blue switches, and I could instantly tell that it's a lot better in every single way basically. First of all, it doesn't use the stupid flat keycaps. Sure, I mean, they don't have a lot of profile, but they taper towards the top, which means that the distance between the key tops is a lot bigger, and as such I haven't had any of the issues I had with the Anidees, where I just kept striking multiple keys all the time. This alone is already a massive improvement. Also, this one is a full size rather than 65%. Now, this obviously does hinder its portability aspect, and to be fair, at 43.5 centimeters long, it'll take up a fair bit of space in a backpack or something, and frankly, I'm not sure it's built anywhere near well enough to withstand getting bent or anything like that. However, I'd rather have a slightly less portable keyboard with a layout that is actually usable than a portable keyboard that I hate, so there's that. And third, these Kailh Choc switches feel almost the same as those Frailly clones, but thank God the problem of the hyperactive switches is fixed. The tactile bump is still not 100% matched up with the click, but at least it's after the tactile bump now, and that's what we really want anyway. It should be noted that there are only a very small number of switch designs that have the click and actuation perfectly matched up anyway, and no, Cherry MX Blue is not one of them. Kailh Choc, or Kaihua PG1350 as it's technically known, has a slightly shorter key travel of 3mm compared to 3.5 to 4mm for most full travel switches, but they don't feel as low travel as scissor switches generally do. It's honestly not bad, I like it, even when compared to most modern full travel switches. I don't know, maybe I'm just a sucker for click bars, but they really feel at home here for some reason. The build quality of the rest of the board is very mediocre to say the least. It weighs only 625 grams, less than a third of a Model M, which is an advantage portability wise, but as I mentioned earlier, its large size kind of prohibits that anyway, and the construction is almost all plastic. It flexes a lot actually, and it just doesn't feel like they spent a lot of money on it. The keycaps are similarly cheap. They're laser-ablated ABS, which might look sharp now, but they wouldn't for long if I'd used this board as a daily driver for much longer than my usual week of testing. And, of course, they're complete fingerprint magnets. And then there's the RGB. Now, last week's DAS keyboard had an RGB problem as well, where the lights weren't very well bundled, which was apparently due to pulse width modulation or something. But that's not what's the problem here. In fact, this one should be visible on camera very easily. The lighting is very stuttery. You can actually see each frame of the animation, so to speak. And even at the fastest animation speed this persists. It really transforms the RGB from an admittedly uninspired ornament into a rather unsightly distraction. The light itself does appear to be well bundled, but it's hard to say with the stutteriness of the animation, and the backlighting is rather weak. This is the most luminant setting, and in fact the camera shows it brighter than it is in person, so even if it wasn't very well bundled, I doubt I'd be able to see it very well. Also, it's still harder to find the right keys on this keyboard than it is with normal full height caps. In any case, it's certainly not unusable, but I couldn't help but notice this across the entire testing period. Especially the caps lock was a nightmare. Half the time I wanted to press A, I kept pressing this instead. Now, normally I just advise to use a stepped keycap here like this, which is a good addition to any board, but with such low profile caps, that's of course not really possible. So, in conclusion, the board itself is really just a subpar vessel for the switches, but the good thing is that I really like those for some reason, and everything that was wrong with the Anidees, the annoying flat keycaps, the annoying form factor, and the annoying over-responsiveness, has been fixed in this board, so overall I guess it could be a lot worse at the least. Honestly, this board is all about the switches for me, the rest is barely worth the effort of mentioning it, which is why I guess this is such a short video. But I really do like the switches, and I'm not even completely sure why, they're just really satisfying somehow. In a loose board like this, low profile switches don't make that much sense to me, but if they started putting these in laptops, I think that they'd make using a laptop a lot better, because the chiclet shite that normally comes in those is just bleeding awful, while these clickbar choc switches are genuinely very pleasant to use in my opinion. Anyway, that's it for this review. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and following is a typing demonstration of me typing on this keyboard.